Good afternoon, dear partners, colleagues. My name is Alexandra. I'm technical support engineer from Galileosky company. First of all, let's check the connection. Could you please text in our chat? Do you hear me well? Okay. Okay, great. So it seems like everything is good right now, so we can start our webinar. Today we are going to discuss different scenarios of working with Bluetooth sensors and some key moments, some external sensors integration, etc. So let me introduce our partner, Wandril Lucier from Ela Innovation company. We will do this webinar together with him. So please take part in our discussion. All the question you can text in questions section. So let's start our webinar. What key moments we will discuss today? First of all, we will discuss wired vs wireless technologies, which one should be chosen, etc. What companies use wireless technologies, how to set up data transmission from a sensor to GPS tracker to Galileosky device, and also we will review some kind of useful easy logic algorithms, and I will provide you short examples how to use them. The webinar will take up to 60 minutes. Let me say that all the participants will get the webinar recording, so you can use it for your daily work and so on. And the first question is why our customers can choose wireless sensors and tags, and why this technology became popular, and what tasks you can solve using it. So let me pass the word to Wandril. He will tell you some kind of useful information about the sensors, about the companies, and all the details. Wandril.
Yeah, hello, Alexandra. Thank you for introducing me to this webinar, and thank you to you and Galileosky team for giving me this opportunity to present Ela Innovation and its products and how they can be used in collaboration with your own devices to create some added value on this in this telematic industry. So Ela Innovation is a French company that develops and produces wireless tags. It's been developing them for 20 years now. So what would we choose wireless sensors and tags? We have on this slide 3 keywords, which are identify, locate, measure. And obviously the benefits of a wireless solution is the fact that using wireless tags and sensors is something that you can do very easily. The installation is very easy, and not only easy, it is also very quick to do. So your tag will be easily deployed, quickly deployed, and they are programmable, reprogrammable remotely or on your desk without having to perform any complicated or time-costly operations. So that's the main difference between a wireless radio solution and the possible use of wired sensors that need effort to be deployed. So as a result of this easiness and flexibility of working wirelessly, we can find a wide variety of solutions in one place, because there is absolutely no problem to make different sensors and possibly a high number of sensors coexist in a small place. Next slide, I'm going to. So what useful Bluetooth sensors and tags does Ela Innovation provide, and what tags can be used also via the GPS trackers of Galileosky? So as you can see on this slide, with these different pictures and titles, we have a portfolio of possible solutions, possible sensors or solutions, and identification tags that are used in several typical use cases linked with the transport and the logistic industry. So I'm going to review the most popular of them and the associated typical use cases involving the use of GPS trackers and Bluetooth low energy sensors. So my first concrete example would be to talk about the magnetic detection. So in this case, you use Bluetooth energy tag that detects magnetic field and associate to it a magnet which is placed next to it. And every time the contact between the sensor on one hand and the magnet on the other hand will be either lost or found, specific data will be sent via Bluetooth low energy frames by the sensor. So this is mostly used to monitor door openings, and thanks to that you can check at any time the current status of your door. Is it now open? Is it now closed? And be alerted immediately when a door that is supposed to be closed gets opened, or vice versa. We can also analyze later how many times the door has been opened, how long it's been kept closed, and review all this historical data. So checking door opening events and door status, is it open, is it closed, is particularly useful when it comes to work with refrigerated trailers or refrigerated trucks in order to be alerted if a door isn't properly locked, and do the needed corrective action in order to avoid for the temperature to rise above the set limit. This can also serve as an anti-theft solution, since opening a door will generate alerts, and crossing this data with data about location, with data about timing, will help us understand if the door is being open in the right place where it's been supposed to be open, and if it is open in the right time. So concretely, is it being open during the day at the targeted time of unloading the truck, or is it being open in the middle of the night and in the middle of nowhere? A last interesting example is to use magnetic detector to visualize the crane or articulated arm of a truck and see if it is duly folded back in place for driving mode to avoid accidents, because we know that sometimes such equipment can be left deployed whilst the truck is starting driving again, which can cause a lot of potentially huge damages. A second very typical use case when we associate GPS trackers to Bluetooth low energy standalone devices is the asset identification. So basically we place a tag on the asset, and thanks to that we're able to know where it currently is, where it's been during a given time, or also find it more easily by sending a command to switch on, for example, an LED which is built in the tag in order to locate it and differentiate it from possibly other tags present in the same place. So those tags are more often used to identify trailers and pair them with towing trucks, or identify pallets and containers, boxes, well, in fact, whatever asset which is worth being tracked with a tag can be tracked by such a combined technology. Next example of using these tags is not to identify assets, but to identify people, because we can, of course, assign Bluetooth Low Energy tags to people, such as drivers, to facilitate their identification and perform different tasks. So the most common of them is to associate drivers with vehicle. And another example involving drivers is the case where you have two drivers sharing the wheel for a given trip. By using their BLE tags, we can manage the switches of drivers by pressing a button to know which of the two drivers is currently taking the wheel. So next to that, you can also come and cross this information with other information, and you can later on or immediately associate the occurrence of events with drivers thanks to the GPS tracker. Besides identifying the driver, you can also make your Bluetooth sensor and your GPS tracker help you control if there are people around the truck or around the trailer, or even inside the trailer or inside the cabin truck, by using a new sensor of our range, which is a sensor of human presence based on passive infrared. So again, if you get an alert that someone is inside the trailer or inside the cabin truck at the time, or in a place where there should be no one, you can start investigating and do the needed action. Now I'm coming to coming again to the sensor section, because I've been talking about identification tags on the earlier slides. Now I'm talking about sensor again. We have sensors that can be used both for tracking movements or tracking the passing of certain angles. So you will configure your sensor to work in a motion detection mode or in an angle threshold detection mode. So if you go for the motion version, by configuring your tag this way, you'll be able to set your own acceleration thresholds and be immediately alerted when they are passed. So that to possibly, again, associate this event with the position provided by the GPS tracker. So again, that's an additional possible protection against theft. If you see that the tag is starting moving when and where it is not supposed to move. And beside this anti-theft help, you can also estimate, for instance, the working rates of your tools by knowing that they are being used because they generate some specific vibration, or they're not working because they are perfectly still. You can also know how long your tool has been used, or whether it is free to be used for by anyone else. If you see that someone needs a specific tool, and you know that this specific tool is free because it's not used by another colleague or another worker, that tool can be passed to him. Now, if you go for the angle mode, you can of course set your own angle threshold and check on all events that that threshold is being passed. So typically you can understand the opening or closing of truck tailboard, or like on the picture here, the lifting of the bed of a dumper truck. So my next slide is about temperature sensors. So among all the sensors associated with GPS trackers, it is quite likely that the temperature sensors are the mostly used ones. And as a consequence, logical consequence, at Ela Innovation, we've given a very particular focus to this type of sensors. So obviously they're used to monitor and record temperatures and sometimes also humidity rates in various situations, such as food transportation between different warehouses, or between a producer and a shop. or also control final deliveries of meals ordered by private people or by companies. Let me mention that for the moment, the season for ice cream trucks has started here in Europe, so you may also wish to know if your ice cream is really cold or whether you'll be buying it half melted. Joke aside, these sensors are found on many different types of assets, such as the largest sea containers, or inside smaller cool boxes, or just directly inside of refrigerated trailers. And these sensors are not only used for food transportation. We find them also to track the temperatures, to monitor the temperature of pharmaceutical products, which is a more demanding task, which gives me a chance to say that you can find within Ela Innovation range temperature sensors which are certified according to the European standard, defining the criteria that a sensor has to fulfill to be considered as a truly reliable component of the cold chain management. And one of these sensors, one of these temperature sensors, can sense temperatures going very low and very high, so from minus 80 Celsius degrees to plus 200 Celsius degrees. More globally about the range of Bluetooth sensors and tags, will not comment again about the advantages of wireless solutions versus wired solutions, but if we look at the wireless sensors and focus on specific advantages of Ela sensors versus others, I'd like to say that we have sensors with very large battery life cycles, up to 20 years for the puck, the blue puck family. And we have also a good variety of form factors, which includes the puck that I just mentioned and the coin family of products that are quite tough beacon with a strong shock-proof casing and IP68 rating. And we also find in our product list the slim and light family of tags, which are, like their name suggests, compact and light tags, which are good to be given to people. And the last advantage, which is of importance for practical purposes, is the scanning distance that you can reach in difficult environments, especially on the blue puck family, so the biggest of our tags. And we know that depending on the context, being able to scan a tag can be difficult when that environment has many negative influences on the radio frequency messages. Also, we found in all our tags, except one, some LED which are built in, and in one of them also a sound buzzer, which is of help for finding these assets and also generate sometimes alerts. And last comment, general comment about the advantages of working with these tags is the possibility to set some passwords in order to protect the configuration settings of the tags from unauthorized modifications by people who may want to mess around with your devices and assets. But that is protected via a password. So that was it for my part on the typical use cases of Bluetooth low energy identification tags and sensors.
Thank you, Wandriel, for the presentation, for the useful information about your products. Dear partners, if you will have or if you already have some questions about these devices, please text them in our questions section. We will answer them at the end of our presentation. So let's talk about Galileosky devices and what's new in working with Bluetooth peripherals. Let me say that now we support up to 64 Bluetooth tags in the device settings. So at the start of integration, they were only 8 tags, and now this list was expanded, so you can use it for configuration up to this quantity of sensors of tags. Also, it's possible not only to get the data from integrated sensors, it's also possible to get information from some kind of specific sensors. You can use any sensor you want to use, and all you need is to implement the additional easy logic algorithm inside the device. Also, Galileosky devices can work with Bluetooth labels and can detect signal quality and send this information to the monitoring software. What sensors are already integrated with our devices? It's fuel level sensors, flow meters, load axle sensors. If we are talking about Ela Innovation sensors, we support the big quantity of different sensors: motion, temperature, humidity sensors, acceleration, magnetic, and digital input. So in case of any technical questions, you can send us a request with information about the sensor you want to use, and we will provide you the information you need. Now we can review the question how you can configure your Galileosky device for working with Bluetooth sensors. Let me say that it's rather easy to do. As you can see here, you should only go to the Settings tab, to Bluetooth tab, and set the parameters as it's shown here. Then all you need is to press Start Scan button. Device will found the devices near it and will display the parameters you can send in Bluetooth text. For example, here we have Bluepack mag device, and we can get the following parameters: counter, event, and signal level. You can use one of the 64 Bluetooth tags to send these parameters to the monitoring software. For example, here I use tags from 0 to 2. And on the second step, all you need is to enable these parameters in Protocol tab in main packet field. Sorry for the mistake here. The parameters should be enabled in the main packet, of course, in the main packet, to get them on your server side. So you can get all the data shown on the previous slide on your monitoring software, and depending on the software you use, you will see them in different parameters. Now let's review some kind of additional easy logic algorithms you can use with our devices to make the device work with the Bluetooth sensors. Let me say that we have Easy Logic tab in our configurator tool, and you can use it for creating some kind of block schemes, for creating additional scripts using C-like language, and of course we can provide you some kind of typical templates you can download from our website. Also, we can provide you the help with creating of this algorithm. For example, here you can see the short template, the short example, how to control Bluetooth parameters in the algorithm and use this algorithm for flexible control of access to cargo by ID. There are two ways how you can create this algorithm. The first way is to add all the tags, all the Bluetooth IDs here in the algorithm in conditions as it's shown on this block scheme. The second way is to have microSD card installed in the device and to add a special script into the Easy Logic algorithm and record all the IDs you want to control into the file saved on microSD card and to proceed the work with this file here. This example shows how to check Bluetooth IDs in EasyLogic block schemes. For example, you have three Bluetooth IDs, free Bluetooth devices, and you want to do something like control the external device by changing output state when the some kind of trusted Bluetooth label is detected by the device. So you should add conditions one by one and add the numbers, add the IDs you are planning to use as the authorized. Device will compare the parameter get it from the parameter got from the Bluetooth device, and if the parameter is like it's shown here, it will record the additional point and it will change the output state to closed. I mean, the output will be grounded and some kind of action will be done by the device. So it's just a short example to show you how you can proceed with the algorithm and how you can control Bluetooth IDs. Also, what task we can solve using our devices. We can control the road of moving of a vehicle. We can send the tags, the numbers, the IDs from Bluetooth sensors to the monitoring software. For example, here you can see some kind of specific road, and we want to control the vehicle. The vehicle should move only on a certain points, and for example, some task with garbage counter, garbage catching, etc. The vehicle should move only for a certain road, as I said already, and when it will reach the Bluetooth device, it will record the point and it will send this point to the monitoring software. So in the monitoring software, we can add some kind of report and control was the road as we wanted or not. So just to control the driver about the moving. For example, some kind of sensors like Bluepack IDs can be used for this project, etc. So if you have some kind of specific tasks, please feel free to talk with our support and we will try to help you. Also, let me say that we have the algorithm templates on our website. You can go to our training section and you can download the examples of using Bluetooth messages in scripts in EasyLogic tab. Here you can see the screenshot from our website. You can download the example about receiving Bluetooth messages. You can read the description how it works. Also, you can download the sending Bluetooth messages algorithm and change it, modify it as you want it to work. Let me show you how it will be. So in this algorithm, in this page, you can see the algorithm about receiving data from the Bluetooth sensor. Let me say that you can open this example in EasyLogic tab of your configurator tool, and you can modify it as you want using our scripting language. When you already realize the part of receiving data from Bluetooth sensor, you can add some kind of additional parts about processing and about sending data to the monitoring software. In the next slide, let me show you how the algorithm about sending data looks like. So it's also the scripting language algorithm. You can modify it and implement into the device. So using both of these algorithms, you can integrate any Bluetooth sensor you want to integrate with our devices. You can add any logic you want to use to complete your end customer needs. If you need more information, please go to our website, to our manuals about scripting language, to our manuals about Easy Logic, and also email us or phone us to get the consultation from our support. Let's talk about successful user cases. Some of our clients, some of our partners are already worked with Bluetooth sensors, already worked with Ela Innovation sensors, and we have the example of this integration. It's about Smartboard company. They used our devices and Ela Blue Pack ID sensors for control of motorboats, doors and hatches, and to use only authorized access to the boats. The project was very interesting and our customer is very satisfied, and he provides the positive information about this integration. So if you will need some kind of additional details about it, you're welcome. So now we can discuss all of your questions. I see that some questions are already there.
Yes, there is I see a first question maybe about the configuration for the tags and sensors. Should we start with that one, Alexandra?
I think this question is for you,
Yeah, at least it is described as such. Question for ELA. Do you have a proprietary software for the configuration? Yes, we have a free software which is called Device Manager that you can use on computers and as an app for iOS and for Android that you can indeed use to manage all the possible settings of your tags and sensors. Like if we talk about identification tags, you can choose the frame protocol, the more universal ELA ID, or iBeacon or Eddystone, and very soon you'll be able to even work with your own customized frame. That's coming for. This is a feature that's coming in the coming months. But yes, the classic parameters that people configure via this device manager are the name of the tag, the transmission power, the advertising frequency, the emit period, and also the data logger functionality is managed by that configuration software.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is, what is the expected range of BLES sensors and GPS trackers in an open, unobstructed environment? As far as I know, it depends on the sensor type. I looked at your products and I saw that some kind of sensors are can work in different environment, in hard environment, for example, and the range varies about sensor type.
Yes, that's correct. This is one thing that I mentioned quickly during the presentation, that if we look at the form factor Blue Puck, which is the most popular of our tags, we see that specific beacon or sensor is the one that offers the longest detection range and also the greatest rates of reception in harsh environments. So to be concrete, the question is about open, unobstructed environments, and we have tested it in a very desert place, perfectly flat land with no obstacle at all, no radio frequency pollution, and in these conditions, we've been able to sense Blue Puck ID tags at a distance of nearly 500 meters. But I have to to mention also that these were the most perfect possible conditions to test that detection range. And to be more concrete, if you would use these tags in warehouses or in offices, of course the distance would be very reduced. So in warehouses, we had also measured some 100, 200 meters, and when it comes to offices, it will of course be very different from office to office. And coming down to the world of telematics and GPS trackers and identification beacons, we can expect some, but of course, be very cautious because everything has to be tested on the field. But you can expect some 20 meters, sometimes more, sometimes much less, depending on the position of your tag, depending on the position of your GPS tracker, and so on. So many parameters. And just to give a final comment, the Bluepuck ID detection range is twice as big as the other tags one, which means that we have really very good performance of detection range with this tag.
Great, thank you. So I think the next question is also about your sensors. How reliable is temperature sensor as the cold chain vehicles are airtight and BLE data connection seems disconnected frequently?
Yeah, so this question is somehow related to the previous topic about the detection range. In fact, obviously, when it comes to refrigerated trailers, they indeed have to be airtight in order to keep that cold air inside and not let warm air get in. And this can also create some kind of Faraday cage or obstacle for the radio frequency messages to reach the GPS tracker, the GPS gateway from the tag. So I have two pieces of answer for that question. The first is that when we actually see that the frames sent by the temperature sensors can't be received by the GPS tracker, which is in a truck cabin, for example, that GPS tracker can be moved inside of the refrigerated trailer. And in that case, we of course increase very strongly the chances for the messages to be received. And in the case when the messages are not received for whatever reason, and possible reason is that we just give up the Bluetooth scanning by the GPS tracker, the data are saved actually in the data logger, which is this internal memory of the temperature sensor. And that data logger can save up to 4,000 values. And as a user, you're free to configure the recording frequency that you want to have. So you may wish to record temperature every 30 seconds, every 5 minutes, every 2 hours, as you wish. You will get this data be saved in the memory of the tag so that you don't miss the information if ever you lose the Bluetooth connection between the sensor and the receiving scanner.
Thank you. The next question is, hi, is it possible to change Ela device parameters remotely from the Galileosky device? Unfortunately, no. Right now, it's not possible to do this. As it was mentioned before, you should use the special configurator tool from Ela Innovation.
This could be in the next steps. Yes.
Maybe yes. So let me check our chat. The same question. Okay. So, dear partners, do you have additional questions maybe?
Oh, so one last comment about the data logger from the temperature sensor. You also find the same data logger in the other types of sensors.
Okay, so could you please answer to one quick question? It's very important for us to get the feedback from you to make our webinars better, to provide you interesting information. Please pay attention to this question right now. Okay, thank you for your feedback. So I hope today's webinar was very useful and interesting for you. Thank you, Andriel, for your attention, for your part of presentation. Was glad to see to get information
My
from
pleasure.
you.
Thank you, attendees. Thank you again, Galileosky, for getting Ela to speak about the products and the collaboration between technical collaboration between these devices.
Thank you too. So, dear partners, hope to see you on our next webinars.